there, it's Tara, and today I'm gonna tell you the truth about thigh gaps. I am so happy that this is an obsession that I never got roped into. Personally, I don't really see the appeal or the necessity for having a big gap in between your thighs. It doesn't make sense to me, and it is an obsession. So that is my first truth about thigh gaps. They are an obsession, a complete obsession that has absolutely nothing to do with health, nothing to do with wellness, nothing to do with being fit, nothing at all to do with being healthy. It is straight up an obsession, and an unhealthy one at that. See, it's unrealistic to think that we can all have thigh gaps. It's unrealistic to think that we all have the same bone structure, no matter how thin you are or how heavy you are. What happens when we place importance on something like a thigh gap and teach young men and women, girls and boys, that this is important? It creates that eating disorder mentality. That it's not about being healthy, it's only about how big the gap is in between your thighs. Which brings me to my second truth about thigh gaps, which is putting an emphasis on or creating an obsession for thigh gaps. It causes eating disordered eating habits. The reason it does this is because the entire emphasis is placed on losing weight rather than on eating healthy, on exercising. Because a lot of the time, healthy average people, whether they are very, very skinny or even slightly heavy, these people who are averagely healthy don't have thigh gaps. Even some people who are very, very skinny can't feasibly have thigh gaps because of their bone structure. But to young men and women who feel it is so important to have this thigh gap to be accepted and to feel beautiful inside, they are gonna only focus on weight loss, whatever they can do to get skinny. And that leads to disordered eating instead of focusing on health, instead of focusing on whole foods that make them feel good. And if anything, it just also perpetuates that cycle of self-loathing, self-hate, and never learning to love and appreciate your body just the way it is. And my third truth about thigh gaps is that it has no relation, absolutely no relation whatsoever, to being healthy. If you have a thigh gap, it doesn't mean you're healthy. If you don't have a thigh gap, it doesn't mean you're unhealthy. It has no relation to health. I actually think it's completely ludicrous, to be honest. I don't understand it. I don't understand the appeal. I mean, a lot of the times you see someone with really strong, healthy legs who works out, who goes hiking, running, cycling. They don't have thigh gaps. So what is with the obsession? I think it is far more important to put the emphasis on eating healthy, exercising, living healthfully. And if you get a thigh gap as a result of that living healthfully, and your body structure allows for it, then great. But otherwise, who cares? And my last truth about thigh gaps that I really want you to consider, all of you out there, is that if you don't have a thigh gap, it doesn't mean you're fat. It doesn't mean you're unhealthy. It has no relation to your size. So if you are comparing yourself to other people who have thigh gaps and thinking that somehow your body is not fit or not beautiful enough because you don't have one, please let go of those thoughts, because they are simply not true. And now that I've had my say about how ridiculous I think thigh gaps are, I would love to hear your thoughts. Do you have a thigh gap? Do you even care whether you have a thigh gap or not? I don't really think you should, but I would love to hear whether you place importance on having a thigh gap, and if you've ever felt an obsession about having it as well, and what that did to you physically, emotionally, and mentally. As always, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up, and if you like this topic, give it a thumbs up too. Check back for more videos each and every week. I've got 5 coming for you each week, and I will see you next time.